You do not need years of experience. Sometimes we think we have to be the best of the best to get started, and we don't realize that in order to be the best of the best, you literally have to get started. Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of my freelancing series. For those of you who are new, I'm Shandice. I'm a writer, author, marketer, and creative business owner. But titles aside, I'm just me. I just want to make a difference and pretty much just share things that have empowered my life. Is that a fly? Sorry. This is the real me, guys. Like, I get easily this... Okay. Let me get back to what I was saying. This is part 2 of my freelancing series. I'm so glad that you are here. In this video, we're going to be talking about what you do and don't need to get started as a freelancer. We're going to really talk about mindset and getting back to basics. I think many times we can put so much pressure on ourselves and think we have to have everything together before getting started. And I really just want to share some of my process, some of my tips, and just debunk some of the myths that we carry around, some of the narratives that are holding us back. Okay, so the first thing that you do not need is approval. You do not need someone to tell you that you can do this and then insert me who's telling you you can do this. My point is, take me out of the picture, right? With or without me, you're capable. Whether I made this video or not, you're capable. The whole point is just me reminding you that you're capable. So whatever may be going on in your life right now, whatever is telling you, whether it be yourself and whether it be people around you who have kind of put seeds of doubt in your mind regarding some ideas you may have, whatever it is, you do not need anyone's approval to take the first step in whatever direction you know that you want to go in. That's number one. But what you do need is self-belief. I underestimated the importance of self-belief. And I want to kind of step into faith for a little bit. So myself as a Christian, I would always think, well, God believes in me, God's got my back. Yes, all those things are true. But I need to trust that I can also do the job. I need to trust that I actually have the ability. I need to walk in that with confidence. So whatever it is, whether it be freelancing and whether it be starting a business and whether it be just doing something that scares you, you do not need approval, but you do need to believe that it's possible. You have to believe in yourself. Like, that's pretty much our starting point. So my second thing is, you do not need years of experience. Sometimes we think we have to be the best of the best to get started, and we don't realize that in order to be the best of the best, you literally have to get started. So what I have learned over time is that where we sometimes think that, okay, like I need to develop the skill to be great and then I can find clients, or then I can make a difference, or then I can go do this thing. So yes, in some professions, you are obviously not going to operate on someone without actually knowing the surgical process and actually being someone who has watched another surgeon do surgery and all those things. We're not talking about surgery though. We're talking about freelancing. So don't think that you have to have 20 years of experience. Oh wow, the lighting is changing. Don't you just hate that? Like how the light literally said, you are not going to outshine me today. And it's taken over. Wait, okay. I'm gonna have to change angles, guys. Okay, so I'm back in action. So as I was saying, you do not need to have 50 years of experience, but you do need to be clear on what you are good at. Because if you have a skill, a defined, clear skill set, you can use that skill set to then make money. You can use that skill set to freelance. You can use that skill set to develop and to grow it into whatever you desire it to become. But not even that, like, when you are clear on what you can bring to the table, you can always do an exchange, right? Think about it from like a business perspective. Even when you go for a job interview, there's a clear role. And in order for you to get that role, you're going to have to be able to clearly share how you can get this job done. If you haven't watched part 1 in my freelancing series, I would definitely recommend it because I do share some exercises that you can do so that you can really put some time aside to think about what your skill sets and gifts are. Okay, so next, you don't have to quit your job to start freelancing. And I'm going to say that one more time. You do not have to quit your job to start freelancing. You don't even have to quit your job to start a business. You literally quit your job because you want to quit your job. Like, I have been through this enough times to say that I realize in the past, the times that I wanted to quit my job was more about the job and how it was negatively affecting me than what I wanted to pursue, right? So what I mean by that is I'm not saying that if you're in a toxic work environment that you shouldn't by all means make an exit and do something that is going to be more fulfilling or be in an environment that's going to be more fulfilling. But don't think to yourself, in order for me to start freelancing, in order for me to start making extra money, I need to just quit my job so that I have all the time in the world to get started. What typically happens, if you are not good with time management in your job, you are not automatically going to be good with time management once you quit your job. And that's something that I had to realize back in 2018. And that was when I quit one of my jobs because I just wanted to work for myself and I wanted to do all the things. And I literally had no clue what I was doing because I didn't have discipline. I wasn't consistent. I wasn't committed. I just had a dream. And there's nothing wrong with having a dream, but you have to ask yourself, how am I going to level up mentally so that I can truly bring this dream to life? And then fast forward to 2020 when I quit my job again, another job, completely different situation. I was so focused and I was so ready to do this seriously that even though I had challenges, I was committed, I was consistent, I knew how to manage my time, and I made it work. So going back to what I was saying, don't think your job is what's holding you back. Many times we are what's holding ourselves back. So in order to get started, it can be as simple as you putting 30 minutes aside every day to build your portfolio, to do the little things until you get to a place. If the dream is to quit the job, get to a place that it actually makes sense. But don't see your job as the enemy. Many times we're the enemy of ourselves, of our progress. So just keep that in mind, okay? Start asking yourself the questions. How am I holding myself back? Because if it's the job today, it will be something else tomorrow. And the more that we allow our external circumstances to be the things that are holding us back, there will always be a reason that we cannot move forward. So next, so I know they say you have to spend money to make money. And in many ways, sometimes we do, right? But my next thing that you do not need when getting started, you do not need a website. You don't need a website. Having one is nice. I'm not saying that if you have one that it's a bad thing. It's a great thing if you have a website where you can display your work and display your interests. Like, that's great. Even if you have a blog, like, that's amazing. But don't think that you need to go and start a website in order to get your first client. Let's go back to basics. Do you have a skill set? Are you able to display that skill set in a portfolio? That could literally be a Google folder with all your different projects that you've worked on. It could literally be a resume where you're linking to different documents, whatever that may be. I'm just trying to release some of the pressure. Like, don't think you have to hire a designer to create this extravagant website. I'm not saying, once again, I'm not saying that if you have a website, it's a bad thing. But to get started, you do not need a website. I didn't have a website for the first year of freelancing. And I still made a living. I still met amazing people. I still worked on some of my favorite projects was in 2020, and I did not have a website. So I just want to say, like, don't feel like you have to spend all your money to get started. Having a website is not a bad thing, but you don't need to basically run up a bill in order to start freelancing. You literally just need a simple way to display your work, to show what you have, to show what you've got, show your gifts, show your skills, show that you can do it. So my last thing is, you do not need a following. I don't need you to be up all night thinking about what reels you're going to be posting so that you can get your first client. And we have to be able to distinguish the difference between influencer marketing and freelancing, right? Influencer marketing, becoming an influencer, that is a completely different industry. So if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But if you simply have a skill set, if you want to be a project manager on the side, you really do not need to have 100,000 followers. Do you get what I'm saying? If that happens, that's great. But going back to what I was saying, sometimes we feel so intimidated because we look around us and we see a lot of people maybe gaining popularity. And while that's great for them, it doesn't mean that you are any less talented, that you are any less capable if you have 50 followers. Like, there are a lot of people out there who have 1 million followers but don't have $1 million in the bank. On the other end of the spectrum, you have people who may not even have 100 followers on social media and they're billionaires, right? So don't equate following, popularity to your ability to make money. But the one thing that you do need is a network. You need to start building connections. LinkedIn is one way to do that. Attending local events in your area, like doing the things that people aren't really doing as much of. Sometimes it's as simple as going online and seeing what's going on around your area and attending things and getting comfortable speaking to people, putting yourself out there. Now, that's something that has been very intimidating to me over the years because I'm very much an introvert. Like, I very much am not the person who's going to be the loudest in the room, and like, I'm just not her. And many times I would kind of be like, like, how do I put myself out there when I don't always really speak up, right? So start small. It could, like I was saying, finding people on LinkedIn that you want to connect with and sending them a thoughtful message. You don't have to do everything the way that everyone else is doing it. You can be creative, like do what comes naturally to you, but also realize that sometimes you are going to have to push yourself out of your comfort zone to start building that professional network so that you can start introducing yourself to clients, to prospective clients. And something that's been really helpful for me is do research. Like, is there something that you're good at and you see a gap? So for example, right, this is the most random example, but I think it's a good one. I was watching a YouTube video of this guy who does power washing, and he literally on Wednesdays he like goes to different neighborhoods and he will like power wash like a whole park. He saw a dirty park and he wanted to make it right. He could potentially, if he wanted to, start getting contracts, right? He could say, hey guys, I cleaned up the park. I would love to talk to you about potentially starting a contract with you where like once a month I come to the park and I clean blah, blah, blah for this amount of money, right? There's a need and he has a service that can solve that need. So thinking about it creatively, look around you, look around where you live, where you are. Maybe there's a problem that you can solve because your skill is the solution. So yeah, that's everything I have for part 2. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that you also gained something from it. And as I was saying, that this is not just about freelancing. I think in so many ways, we can hold ourselves back. And I know that sometimes like there's so many mental blocks because so many of us do go through much of our lives thinking things about ourselves that aren't necessarily true. And I just really hope that this video is a seed of some sort to just like remind you that you're capable of whatever it is that you are trying to create and whatever it is you are trying to be in this world. Like, you are capable, and it's only a matter of believing in it, trusting the process, trusting your unique journey, and knowing that things will come together in time. baby steps, one step at a time. So in part 3, I will be taking you along with me for a day in the life of a freelancer. I'm going to be sharing with you how I manage my time. You are literally going to spend a whole day with me, and then we'll be going on to more so like building a portfolio, clients, managing money, and the business of freelancing as we get further down in the series. But give me a thumbs up if you're enjoying this. I will see you in my next one. Once again, I'm Shandice. Have an amazing rest of the week.